Yet again, my child screamed and threw food at dinner time because, in their words, it's disgusting. Mind you, I had specifically made a dinner composed of food they had eaten and told me they liked. You're spot on. When my kids are knee deep in their BS over what color their cup is, oh, that was just a daycare thing. I do not remember my children arguing over the blue plate or the pink plate or the red spoon or the green. Hilarious. Welcome again to my Tens and Tens of Friends. It is me, Teacher TJ, and today I will be reading a Reddit post. This Reddit post is in the parenting subreddit from user PB titled Gentle Parenting Turned My Child into an A-hole. That is a gentle parenting thing is not something that we do in my community. But I've been hearing bits and pieces about it, and I am going to get a little bit more insight and let you all know what I think about it. Stay tuned to this video for gentle parenting pointers and tips right around the 4-minute mark, the 4.5-minute mark, the 7.5-minute mark, and at the 12.5-minute mark. And there is a gem dropped right around the 13-minute mark. And we get a real perspective on what gentle parenting really is right around the 23-minute mark. But from what I could see, it does seem like gentle parenting is just a way that parents are able to do nothing while their child does everything.
The passengers describe an 8-hour flight from hell with nonstop and nerve-jangling screaming and fussing. They even covered their ears to drown out the 3-year-old. His mom was overheard telling flight attendants he has behavioral problems. Passenger Shane Townley shot the video.
She kind of looked like she was used to it. He was climbing all over the chairs. He was just screaming, would not let up. He was running up and down the aisles. There was nothing she could do.
Before the plane even took off from Germany, the child's mother could be heard asking a flight attendant to turn on the Wi-Fi so the child could be appeased with an iPad. She was also heard pleading, "Calm down, honey."
Everybody was just kind of looking at each other like, oh, this is going to be a long flight.
The passengers sure were relieved when the flight finally landed at Newark International Airport after 8 hours of screaming.
This post says, I had my firstborn child almost 5 years ago. From before I gave birth, I was deep in gentle parenting content, diligently researching the most up-to-date theories and strategies around discipline and emotional development. Sounded good so far? I mean, because, discipline and emotional development is an important part of raising a child. But they go on to say, I was enthusiastic to apply a better parenting method than my parents had with me. Oh, sometimes y'all got to keep some of what your parents did and then take some of it out and put what you think is best for your child in there. And then you have to think like, okay, well, how did I turn out? And what really affected me negatively and what affected me positively, and build on that. A lot of y'all don't want to do things to your child, such as put them on punishment, or I'm not a fan of whoopings. So, just because I just can't see any good coming out of whooping. For me, it's like, what can a kid do to make you want to whoop them? Now, if you have a good answer to that, then maybe you should whoop your child.
Off of your phones. We're in the middle of the lesson. Sir, no, we do not have phones on in class.
Okay.
Give me your phone.
No.
Sir, give me your phone.
Oh,
you can get it back after class.
No, he didn't.
What is your problem?
What's your problem, Brady?
You little boy.
Who you talking to?
Look. Get you out of my classroom right now. Get you out of my class.
Then maybe they need a whooping. But again, I know y'all heard me say it once, I said it again. They need to at least feel like maybe you will whoop them one day. But this gentle parenting stuff, let's see. I was enthusiastic to apply a better parenting method than my parents had with me. Over the years, there have been frustrations and triumphs with my child's behavior. But in the last 12 months or so, their behavior has been taking a steady downturn. Meltdowns started becoming the norm, and they began escalating destructive behaviors when they didn't get their way. I tried to follow all the scripts and advice about being firm but kind, letting them feel their emotions, and trying to always talk about how we could do better next time once they were calm. Nothing worked. If you say how to do better next time and you telling me you know what to do next time, if you don't do that next time, then we got a problem. We're not gonna keep talking about, well, remember you said you was gonna do better. No, nobody got time for that. Last week, I finally snapped yet again. And you can't be snapping. You gotta walk away. They make you want to snap. I understand, but you just gotta walk away. And again, I'll add some other things to this as well. Yet again, my child screamed and threw food at dinner time because, in their words, it's disgusting. Mind you, I had specifically made a dinner composed of food they had eaten and told me they liked. I yelled at them that I was sick of their attitude and that I didn't care if they ate or not, but there would be nothing else and certainly no snacks or sugar. My husband didn't yell, but agreed that something has to change because our child is getting more and more bratty. Since then, we have removed all privileges, good job, including screens, sugar, snacks, and some of the toys that my mother had gotten them. All of these had previously been allowed in moderation, but every time we enforce the boundaries, we have communicated for years, i.e., okay, that's 20 minutes of iPad. Let's put it away now, like we talked about. My child will become irate and aggressive. We are starting to see quite the turnaround in their behavior, with them starting to actually apologize for their rude behaviors after they calm down, and for the most part, managing to keep a relatively level head around the rules we are enforcing. It's been an adjustment, and they accuse me of being a rude mommy because since the day I blew up, my tolerance for the carry on is non existent, and I have been very stern with them. But the behavior is improving, so despite feeling like a witch with a B, I'm starting to think that gentle parenting is a crock of and I should have been more authoritarian from the start. Has anyone had the similar experience? Is gentle parenting not all it's cracked up to be? Do you think some children do better with a heavy hand? I keep crying to my husband and telling him I feel I am damaging my child, but he says they are just adjusting to the new normal. I guess I'm just after reassurance that I'm not making a big mistake. So, one thing about children is you don't have forever. One thing about children is time waits for no man. So while you may want to gentle parent, ain't nobody got time for that. Because in the meantime of you gentle parenting, they're going to go out into the world and think that everybody is going to respond to them the way that you do.
Go poking their hand. Don't touch the meat case. Go poking their hands in the meat case. They were throwing things around.
I'm so
You guys
sorry.
keep your hands off of every single thing in the store. I've never seen kids like that in my life.
Very upset and I'm embarrassed. I'm just trying to get out of here as soon as I can.
It was supposed to be a simple grocery run, but within minutes, Lydia's worst nightmare came to life. The boys were poking raw meat with their bare hands, grabbing items off shelves, throwing things, yelling, and racing down the aisles like it was recess. Strangers were staring, managers were approaching, and Lydia was mortified. She wasn't just embarrassed, she was furious. All she could do was grab the paper plates and escape before things got worse. Back in the car, her silence said it all. This wasn't just chaos. This was parenting in freefall. But the madness didn't stop there. The next morning, Lydia woke up to the chorus of burps and fart jokes. The boys proudly bragged that their mom once won a burping contest. When they asked Lydia to join in, she refused. That, apparently, was enough to start a war. Danny, the dad, stepped in to defend the behavior. To him, it was harmless fun. Boys will be boys, he said. But Lydia wasn't buying it. To her, that's not parenting. That's an excuse. She tried to explain the impact of rudeness, how it affects others, but Danny didn't care. If people don't like it, they can take a hike. The conversation ended cold. Danny felt judged. Lydia felt hopeless, and the gap between their values became unbridgeable. As the rule change week approaches, Lydia is already out of steam. Because how do you change a family that doesn't think anything is broken?
And the teachers or the nannies or wherever they go aren't going to gentle parent your child. I understand not wanting to have a heavy hand, as the OP called it, but be realistic. Your child has showed you how they're going to respond to your gentle parenting. You know what is working. I said it before, a man seems to, because they're not really the one dealing with the child. So they'll be like, it's all right, don't worry about it. But meanwhile, you're the one receiving the brunt of the aggression, or you're the one who's constantly dealing with the kid all the time. So to them it's nothing, but to you it's like he just threw the food that I cooked. And you can be gentle when it's appropriate, but when it's a time to be stern, firm, and for real, you're gonna have to get that way. Because how are you being gentle with somebody that's not being gentle to you? Now initially, of course, be gentle, yes, because we want our children to behave that way too. But to your kid is throwing things and yelling and being irate and you're being gentle, I don't understand that. I can't comprehend that. It makes no sense to me. Just my opinion. I'll read some other people's replies. Finance Nomad 22 says kids look to adults for guidance. If adults don't provide guidance and boundaries with confidence, kids struggle. And I remember when I first started teaching, my daughters first started teaching with me, she would say, "Why do they listen to you?" And I would say, "Because they know I'm not playing with them." And not in a mean way, but in a confident way. It's not a question of, "Are y'all going to listen to me? Please, I'm gently asking you." No, you're going to listen. I don't know what else you got planned for today, but what you're going to do is you're going to listen. Where were we? Yeah, so it's very important to be confident about your expectations for your children or the children that you are taking care of. It's like kids smell a lack of confidence. They like, you look like you don't believe what you're saying, and then they don't do it, or they act up. It's a lot of patience, deep breathing, and confidence and boundaries, because like Finance Nomad 22 says, without it, kids can struggle. They want you to be a benevolent leader, not a peer. Facts. That was powerful. They want you to be a benevolent leader, leading with love, a leader that loves, not their friend. With your friends, y'all gonna act up, but with a leader, you're going to follow them. That was nice the way they put that. If gentle parenting devolves into long explanations, you can't over explain, or too many choices that aren't developmentally appropriate, it's unsettling for kids. They're more likely to push boundaries to see where the lines are if they aren't consistent consequences or you seem like a weak leader. If your kid is unwinding, stop asking them questions or giving them choices. I had to be taught that in a parent child interaction therapy when adopting a traumatized special needs toddler who took oppositional to a new level. It works wonders with kids who are being oppositional and adults too at times. That was pretty good. Yeah. Stop asking them questions or giving them choices. You tell them what it is, and that's a fact. Big Security 9322 says, I consider myself primarily a gentle parent, but yet I've done the same. When my all DHD 6-year-old, I guess that's autistic and ADHD, stops going along with the choice thing, or when I know she is having difficulty understanding, I turn to more of an authoritative mode where I give her clear directions and no choices, and it works well. It's tough to manage the balance between the two, but I consistently get compliments on how well she does, especially for being all DHD, and how she is very polite and tries hard to maintain focus. I think for some kids, there must be a bit of a balance between needed that I hadn't fully realized until now. I also have often felt bad that I'm not nearly as good at gentle parenting as I'd like to be, yet the most gentle but not always seems to be working. Your statement about the confidence we parents need to have with guidance and boundaries is so true. They sense weakness for real. It's like I smell. Yeah, you ain't as tough as you think you are, and they don't listen. Because if you hear some of my older videos, you'll hear me say how I don't really say no or stop. I'll give alternatives, or I'll say couches are for sitting, not don't jump on the couch, or you can't jump on the couch. We used to have a trampoline until the people said we couldn't. They was hating. My kids still be asking questions like, "Why we can't have a trampoline?" That's what they said, we can't have one. But I used to say, don't jump on the couch, jump on if you want to jump on the trampoline. But now I just be like, you may not jump on the couch. And if you keep jumping on the couch, you're going to have to go sit on your couches, because there's like a living room set, and then there's like kid-sized couches. And then, like I said, they have millions of chairs in there. Okay, I exaggerated, but they have a lot of chairs. So there's really no real need for them to sit on my couch anyway. I know y'all done been to your grandma's house where she didn't let y'all sit on her couch. So I'm actually allowing 6 to 12 kids to sit on my couch. And if you can't sit on the couch, you don't get to sit on the couch. That's just that. But I do have some other chairs. You can go over there and sit over there. You want to sit on this couch, or you want to go over there? That's the options. But it is with confidence that I meant what I said. Like, what are you doing? They sense weakness and use it. I think it's important to decide a couple of times a day whether the next section of day is where you can really do the gentle method, or if you need to use a more direct approach. At least that's what I've been doing, just basing it on her mood and responsiveness, and also my energy levels. Okay? Ain't nobody got time for that. I'm tired. Girl, watch out. Finance Nomad 22 says, I think you said it perfectly. It's a constant balance that depends on so many factors, including our kiddos' personalities and unique challenges and strengths. the situation, and our energy levels. So much trial and error, but a kid who's in breakdown mode or emotional overload for whatever reason usually doesn't have the cognitive and emotional reserves to make choices. Facts. But sometimes they do. It depends on their level. And because sometimes I go, do you want or do you want, you know? And sometimes they gotta feel like they're in the boss. They are the boss, they are in charge. So sometimes they have to make choices. So sometimes I make sure to give them choices. Scream Finance Nomad 22 also says screaming and rude behavior should shut down all decisions, negotiations, privileges. Right. Sounds like you're on the right track. Don't negotiate with terrorists, right? Perfect Drug 59 says, I did gentle parenting, but I drew the line at any sort of tantrum blow up. Because it seems like gentle parenting is them getting their way. And of course, they have to be able to make decisions to build their confidence and decision making skills and all of that. So you definitely want to give them choices, but you don't want them running the place. That was instant timeout. No counting, no warning. My kid learned where that line was, and it was a very hard line. Just nope. I didn't even put him in timeout. I go away and let him know to tell me when he was done. You're not being nice. I don't want to hang out with you right now, so you need to calm down. Right, exactly. And you hear me saying exactly that in a different video. Come talk to me when you're done. I'll be over here. If you need me, let me know. You need a hug. You need a toy. You get yourself together. Come when you see me, you better holler at me. No, I'm just playing. But when you get yourself together, let me know. And I'm here for you, but I'm not here for that. Charming Amoeba 3330 says, another note, gentle parenting is hard AF because it actually takes actual work for the adult. Many of us who are parents now are also working on themselves and regulating themselves as well as trying to help their children regulate. Beating and yelling at your child is easy and lazy A parenting. Gentle parenting or parenting is hard because you have to work hard yourself. It's true. That's true. It's easy that for your kids to be tripping and you just slap them and tell them to shut up. It's hard to regulate yourself and then get your kids together. It's true. It takes patience, it takes love, it takes practice. So many parents claim gentle parenting is a crock because they spend a few days to a couple weeks trying something, then give up. Some kids don't respond to implementations you are incorporating for several months. This means you have to try your best to just keep pushing because all of this work you are doing is to help your children regulate, become an adult to help your children regulate and to become an adult who can regulate their emotions and have good mental health. Obviously, other things can affect mental health, but if you give your child the tools they need to help themselves when they need it, you did a great job. So many people forget that many of us humans will spend way more time as adults than a child, and a lot of adults forget that there was kids once too. Sometimes expectations be outlandish, like you want a kid to be a certain way or act a certain way when they haven't been taught, or you can't even do it yourself. So come on now. Don't know about you says, honestly, it looks like you went too far on the gentle and not far enough on the parenting. You still have to parent when doing gentle parenting. Parenting means consequences that are consistent and in line with what is happening. They are also supposed to be a deterrent for future behavior, which it sounds like yours weren't. Mother of Sunflowers says, yep, what I would call this is permissive parenting. Brilliant Taste 5655 says, the most underrated and misunderstood concept around gentle parenting. P. Sarah says, I made the same mistake, but I think it's because I was raised by a very stressed, angry, screaming, and abusive mom. Plus, I was trying so hard not to be like that. That's what I said to you. It's like, y'all be like, oh, mom did this. I'm not never going to do any of that. No, you made your mama scream. No, I'm just playing. No, you don't have to yell at your kids, but you do need to have an alternative. Summer 102616 says, I say most people who attempt gentle parenting fall into permissive parenting. It's creating an epidemic. That's why many people are starting to look into alternatives and question gentle parenting. K Bird says, yep. Also, kids don't understand time. So telling a kid 20 minutes literally means nothing to them. Nugginator says, LOL. We set timers and they are our best friends. I get to blame end of fun on a running clock. Not my fault the timer went off. If you don't know nothing else about me, you know I am so about counting down the time. You guys have 10 minutes, you guys have 5 minutes, but I do need to get a timer so that they can visually see time and learn time, get a better understanding of time and numbers. But yeah, not my fault. The timer ran out. And kids go with it. It's true. Life adhesiveness says, that's brilliant. Setting up systems makes it a lot less personal and allows you to share in their disappointment without being the primary cause. Yeah, like, I know, right? Stupid timer. The Strange Brent says, This, I gentle parented incorrectly. Effective Mind 1919 says, it sounds like you are still gentle parenting, just being more strict. I'm a gentle parent, but extremely strict. Zero screen time, rules around new toys, required chores daily, etc. Structure and rules are not the opposite of gentle parenting. Screaming and hitting are. Sleepy Star 08 says, that's what I thought. A child's tantrum not being met with an adult's tantrum, right? I thought gentle parenting was like this. One lady on TikTok says she would handle tantrums the same as waiting for the bus. Then, when they're done, check in and move on. It's been a while since I have been on, so I could be wrong. My mom was authoritarian, which was loud. Nothing but rules and adults always being right while we were always wrong. Yeah, I don't like that either. Kids are right sometimes. And I like to call myself the teacher that can get taught. I totally understand that kids are right sometimes. I can learn from children. So, no, kids are not always wrong. I do not subscribe to that. And I'm not above apologizing when I am wrong. I think I had to apologize today because sometimes when running a home daycare, you can't be everywhere at once. So I'm good at hearing a situation and calling it for what it is, but sometimes I get it wrong. When I get it wrong, I say, I'm sorry, I thought XYZ happened. Let's go speak to the person who the problem is really with or concerns and go from there. And when I do apologize for making a mistake, you can see the not relief, but the appreciation from the children. Like they're like, yeah. dollar bills dash y'all missing the L because they say Yale. No, you're spot on. When my kids are knee deep in their BS over what color their cup is, I thought that was just a daycare thing. I do not remember my children arguing over the blue plate or the pink plate or the red spoon or the green. Hilarious. Or what color their cup is. I don't react and definitely don't make it time for a chat about our feelings. LOL. They are getting to the edge that I can give them the look and they're putting the pieces together that they're being completely unreasonable and it's delightful. Also, you have to be careful with them not being able to express themselves because I understand the mommy look. I give it. But sometimes what's small to us can be big to them. So if a lot of times I like to let children figure it out on their own. I'm here as the leader, but also as an assistant. So if they're having arguments about, I used to, for lunchtime, I would set down the plates in front of each kid and I would set down the fork or the spoon in front of each child. And they would say, I don't want the blue spoon, I want the pink spoon. So I've gotten however many kids it is, I set that many spoons or forks or whatever on the table. Y'all figure it out. I'm not gonna fight with y'all about that. And let's say they get down to the last spoon, a pink and a purple, and this kid want the pink and this kid want the purple, but there's only the purple left. Well, I listen and I let them figure it out amongst each other. And what you'll find out is a lot of times they can. And it's cute, it's funny, and sometimes it may get crazy. I won't let anyone be bullied. Like, here, you're taking the purple spoon. I don't want that. You're going to have, no, they really can genuinely, intelligently work it out amongst each other. So sometimes I let them work it out unless they can't. And then I'm here to help. Amanita Zero Creator says, no, the idea is that you support them and they learn how to calm down. We don't send people out to learn to drive on their own, do we? Yet people still are able to do it eventually. Yeah, I like that you support them. That's a fact. You support them. Like I said, I let them figure it out. And then if they can't, then I'm here to help them come to a conclusion. And my conclusion is still not saying, no, give him the purple spoon and you get the pink one. It's kind of like, well, who got to pick first last time? It's a lot of questions called scaffolding, leading them to the answer amongst each other. Super Natosaurus says, too many people think gentle parenting means no limitations. I just go with what I learned in human development. Authoritative parenting, firm limitations that we explain kindly with love. Jabby _ Hut 2901 says, agree. Providing a plate of food cooked exactly to their requirements, unless you were making that for everyone anyway, isn't gentle parenting. I wish I would. No, I kind of do though. It depends. Allowing them to feel angry or frustrated that dinner isn't what they prefer, and then coping and moving on is. We don't go into long explanations about boundaries, when to turn the TV off. TV time is over. You are turning it off, or do you need me to do it? That's how I be. No, kids have a thing about everything, and it's usually like, now there is one big chair at the table. So now it's like they all want that chair. And then what they'll do is, at first it was like one kid that would want that chair. Another thing is like the stuffed animals at nap time. First, it was like two kids that wanted the two teddy bears that was the same, and then another one wanted the dinosaur, and then another one wanted a different teddy bear. But what's been happening lately is the kid that's like, oh, I got the big chair. Now the other kids want the big chair. Or the kids not even saying that they're happy to have the bear that they want to sleep with. The other kids notice it, so they'll try to rush and get it first. And that happens a lot. But my thing is not to be like, give them that. It's kind of like, your friend says, you know how much they love that thing. Like, what do you think? Let me take turns next time, or, like I said again, leading them to the solution. But sometimes it's like if they go to the big chair first and then the other friend dumps the kid out the chair, it's like, well, you definitely can't have the chair now because we don't hurt each other for it. So you can give them the chair. And next time you can tell me and we can work it out. But since you dumped them out, you're going to have to get that chair back. And then they may say, no, it's mine. And it's like, well, do I need to pick you up and set you in another chair, or are you going to do it yourself? Because the fact of the matter is, you have to give it up now. Sorry. You did that to yourself because, we can't hurt each other for something that we want. And since you hurt them, now it's theirs. And it depends on the situations and how many times it occurred, because it could be like nobody's getting the chair, but you need to help your friend feel better. It all depends. If I'm giving a direct instruction, I don't say please, although I ask politely. I read something about words that we use, such as please, and when we should use them and when we shouldn't use them. But I do say please a lot. Like, can you please give your friend a chair? No, well, I wouldn't say, can you please give your friend a chair, though. But I do say please a lot. And I do talk nicely a lot. Even when I don't feel like it. You know why? Because sometimes you want people to be nice to you regardless if they feel like it or not. And then this mug got the nerve to have an update. We'll read 5 more and I'm done. And then I will read the update. Itsy Bitsy Stumble Bum says, it sounds like what you're doing now, minus the yelling, is gentle parenting, and what you're doing before is permissive parenting. Gentle parenting isn't just about saying there are boundaries. You have to define and defend them. It sounds like you're finally doing the defending part. Good job. That said, defiance and exploring autonomy is a totally normal thing for kids at this age. That's just developmentally normal. Be patient, be kind, but be firm. Show them that you are a safe space, not only because you are kind, but also because you are strong and because you love them too much to allow them to be a little a-hole. ETA. My way of gauging how to balance authority and respect is to try to manage how I would talk to my boss or someone I supervise. Obviously, adjusting language for age. K May Wins says authoritarian, and permissive are all different. Authoritarian is you will put your shoes on because I said so. Talk back, get a smack. Authoritative is you will put your shoes on because we have to wear shoes outside. You can put them on yourself or I can put them on for you. That's me sometimes. Permissive is please put your shoes on. I know you don't want to, but I really want your feet to be safe when we go outside. Please. I don't want to make you put them on. Please put your shoes on. That's kind of me, but not that's too many pleases. Please put your shoes on. I know it's upsetting when you have to do things you don't want to do or don't understand, but I need you to put these on, please. Odd Cheetah says, I don't really believe that there is a one-size-fits-all for parenting. Each child and parent creates a dynamic unique to them. Some kids may do better with gentle parenting, while others may do better with a helicopter parent, and others will with an authoritarian parent. I don't know if helicopter parents work for anyone, maybe sometimes, but at some point you're going to have to leave that kid, so I don't see how helicopter parenting can really work with anyone. You have to figure out what does work best for your child, and that takes trial and error. Don't feel discouraged. You've tried the gentle parenting and that didn't work. Maybe the authoritarian parent will work. If not, try the next thing. The important thing, I would say that you stick with something though. The important thing is to remember that you're doing the best that you know how for your child. Actually, probably don't stick with something. Try out different times and then stick with what works best for you. Parenting is hard, we're told that, but it's impossible to know what actually means until you're a parent. It's true. I like what Dr. Nuke says. Gentle parenting doesn't work with non-gentle kids. Okay? You got kids yelling and screaming at you over there being gentle. And for what? Hating on names says, so, funny enough, my husband was the gentle parent and I was the mean parent. Yeah, that's usually how it goes. I had warned my ex that being gentle wasn't going to turn out well for him, and that if he let her think she could behave any way she likes and that he is going to be a softie about it, she's going to be horrible in her teen years. He didn't believe me until I walked into his house when our daughter was 7 while she was having a meltdown, and he was bent over her and gently saying, sweetie, honey. I was like, nope. This isn't happening and I don't have time for this BS in my head. And I walked up, bent over her and sternly said, "Get up and get in the car right now." She immediately stopped, looked at me a moment, then got up and immediately walked outside and climbed into the car. I looked at my ex, just shook my head, and walked out behind her. Okay, sometimes you gotta be for real.
Georgia has passed the Parental Accountability Act. And what does that include? It's a lot more than just making parents accountable for their spawns of Satan, which personally I'm thankful for, okay? If your uncouth, untrained, unrefined crotch monster heathen decides to physically assault one of these teachers, you as their parent can be slapped with fines, community service, or even jail time. But it's not just about that. It also includes mandatory parenting classes for repeat offenders of this bill. It also includes mandatory mental health screenings for school-age children between 6th to 9th grade. And it also teaches staff how to de-escalate a conflict situation. This bill includes a lot of stuff. And I, for one, am grateful in case it does not take a village. The village didn't spit them out like no cannon. It's not the village's responsibility to
be for real with these kids. You gotta learn how to flare your nostrils and all that. Crazy eye, you better, or they're gonna play you. B underscore my name is underscore Fred says, another day, another passive parent insisting they're an authoritative parent to justify becoming another parent later. Lather, rinse, repeat. I'd like to meet your kids. Let's turn the page. This is an update on the gentle parenting turn my child into an a-hole. Hiya Reddit. A couple of months ago, I posted about the challenges my family and I were having with our 5-year-old's behavior after trying to gentle parenting since birth. I mostly got comments from people insisting what I had been doing was not gentle parenting, but permissive parenting. I still disagree with this conclusion, but I'm not posting an update to debate the exact definition. From the feedback I received, it really does seem that there is a lot of confusion around gentle authoritative parenting and what strategies are considered to fall under this banner. I came away from the last post viewing parenting approaches as more of a spectrum rather than the strict categories anyway. So thank you to everyone who commented with genuine advice and curiosity. It helped me reframe my thinking. So here's what's happened since. 1. My child has been confirmed to have ADHD combined type. It appears this is the main reason that the strategies I was using were not working. Their sensory needs, ability to follow through with low dopamine requests, and emotional dysregulation were not being addressed by the strategies in parenting books. I've learned a lot the last couple of months about my child's communication, sensory needs, and sensory and emotional needs. I have a lot more to learn, but we are now being supported by an OT who specializes in ADHD, occupational therapist, and adolescents. It was ADHD. No, it's a hypertension disorder. I forgot what the AD stands for. And are seeing great improvement in both our child's behavior and, more importantly, our confidence in parenting. Their I can't see that. Brain. So neurospecie, brain, neurospecie. I don't know what the hell that means. But while the gentle parenting strategies I was using were not producing the results we wanted to see, my switch up to yelling and threats did not produce the results I wanted either. My child became very anxious, sometimes visibly shaking if they thought they might stuff something up and get in trouble, i.e. get yelled at. This is the main reason I sought professional help. I realized I was hurting my kid more than I was helping, and I wanted to do better for them. When I approached professionals about a possible diagnosis, I explicitly communicated that I was not after a diagnosis unless necessary, but I was struggling to parent my child and was scared of doing more damage. I was thankfully met with a lot of compassion and understanding, as was my child. Something I did not mention in my previous post is that I also have ADHD diagnosis that I obtained as an adult. When I or my child became dysregulated, we would then dysregulate the other. And it just kept getting worse and worse. I have realized through this process that I was never taught coping strategies for my own emotional, executive, and sensory dysfunction. My child and I are learning together using the tools and strategies the OT recommends. The main thing that has stuck out to me is that no strategy works on every child or person, and no strategy is guaranteed to work indefinitely. So we try things, evaluate success, change it up if we need to, and continue trying and evaluating together with my partner in the OT. 4. My ADHD brain needs rewards and co-regulation to be able to function. I was brought up in an environment where you had to earn the reward through a lot of work. It wasn't something that was easily given, I was also brought up on being sent to my room alone to calm down. Both of these things are contrary to how both an ADHD and child brain work. So I've been unlearning these unhelpful beliefs and using the mini reward system to motivate my child to make good choices, as well as using visual aids and techniques to help them regulate their emotions. The key change has been that I am modeling emotional regulation more clearly by following the colorful printed resources we now have stuck all around the house. And my child has responded a lot better to these. Sometimes, if they're really dysregulated, it can take a little while, but we use things like bubble wands and party blowers to assist with breathing exercises. So it is more enticing to a young child than just to breathe or calm down, which are just such vague instructions for a little brain. I like that. 5. Other things that have worked for us but may not work for other kids in certain situations, as described above, are as followed. A visual reward board to help our child see their progress towards rewards. These are simple things like go to bed without a fuss and try a new food. But what it has meant is that the motivation comes from them and they have agency to choose what task they engage with each time to build their star counts. The rewards are in a big tin. We keep above the fridge filled with little toys, stickers, pens, small individually wrapped sweet treats, and other bits and bobs. They get one reward per 5 stars and a bigger reward, i.e., trip to the arcade to play games with dad, choose what's for dinner, arrange a play date, if they collect 20 stars in 1 week. Touching my child gently before we provide instruction and remaining calm if they continue to ignore us, but still firmly removing the distraction after a warning. My child may react at first, but their brain catches up to the instruction a lot faster than when I didn't do this approach, as they would end up too upset to redirect. Sensory input alternatives such as deep pressure spinning, chewing toys, headphones with either music or white noise, and a bunch more. But basically, understanding where the rise was coming from, sensory wise, means that we can try to troubleshoot that before we jump to assuming that my child just wants to be difficult. A lot of the time, they genuinely just need a certain type of sensory input to be able to calm their body and respond. And sometimes, yeah, it's a bunch of other. I remember having to use weighted blankets or a weighted book bag on a child because, yeah, sensory does matter to children with special needs. Some children with special needs. Co-regulation has been the biggest one for me. Sometimes my child will refuse and go to their room to follow the printed resources on their own, but other times they may seek my help. I admitted to pushing them away in those moments in my last post, something I deeply regret and have not done since learning about the little brain and needs. But with the help of the OT and the targeted resources, I am able to actually know what to do in those moments to help myself and my child regulate. I don't send them away to figure themselves out anymore. And the change in the frequency and severity of their meltdowns has been incredible. From daily, sometimes hourly meltdowns to virtually non existent episodes, unless something is happening, i.e., hunger, tiredness, sickness, etc. So that's my update. We are learning, changing, and adapting. My child is coming leaps and bounds from where they were. My husband and I are unlearning a bunch of stuff from our childhood, our own childhood. And we now also understand our child's limitations and needs better, so we are more confident parents. Excuse me. We still yell sometimes. What parent of a 5-year-old can honestly say they never yell? But we catch ourselves. We apologize. We coach each other on better ways to tackle the challenges, and we are able to work together and with our child to address behaviors that are not helpful. Thanks for reading this far. And if you have specific questions, I'll be happy to respond to those if it helps another struggling parent to seek the support they need for their kids themselves. Infamous _Eb _5561 says, love this for you guys. Bumble Coder says, our oldest just turned 4, and reading this is basically word for word what we're going through, except We're just at the stage of seeking help. Would love to hear whatever other details and resources you're willing to provide, as the next year feels like it's going to be the most challenging / rewarding yet. Apples and bananas. I have been teaching and working with children for almost 25 years. There's a big leap in attention span and maturity between 4 and 5 years old. A child with ADHD will not progress as much as their peers in these areas. Read a couple more posts and then we will be done with this Reddit. Deviant Bono says, it means exactly what it says. NT people don't wonder. If you're wondering, there's a very high chance you're right. There's also a joke. Are you diagnosed or do you just know? At Wants Cakes says, exactly this. Even since my firstborn was 3, I felt like something was off. All kinds of tantrums, people said, but she was having hours long tantrums where she would try and claw me open with her nails or kick the shit out of me with her tiny toddler feet. She needed to hurt me because her brain was so upset over something. She was diagnosed with autism at 6-year-old, and everything fell into place. I once read a quote that said, neurotypical people don't think about themselves, their kids. Could we be ADHD, autistic? Only people with spice think that. And it totally rang true for us as a family. What is spice? Thank you. Dr. House Kane asked. And Bismuth says, people started joking saying neuro-spicy instead of neurodiverse in a friendly way. And it got further abbreviated to spicy. Okay, yeah. So I have not read these resources, so read at your own discretion. Serendong dead of a 3-month-old one. But they say, I disagree. There are definitely NT people who do wonder. However, based on your comment, I did some research and was surprised to find that this does ring true. Reference. And that is all I have for this Reddit for today. And I will catch you all in the next one. I hope you enjoyed or learned something. Don't forget to comment down below, hit the like button, and subscribe if you have not. Bye,
The most honest plan, all right? You might not like it. We're gonna say.
Yeah, great, lead, good, go! Go! No more window, love! Go sell it!
My phone just tell me it's over it. My phone said, girl, I'm tired. Dang it. And is it even? I'm gonna use my, and then charge it on there. Let's pause. My phone literally just tapped out on me. My phone was like, yeah, I don't know what you're gonna do, but I'm going to sleep. It's gonna turn it off. Lord, I wonder what that sound is like. Oh. Oh. I was wondering, like, why the hell do I see doubles? Okay. I didn't understand that. I didn't say nothing to you. Who the fuck is Clive? What is my phone doing? Ain't Clive texting me talking about reading my messages. That was weird. If you notice something different, it's because I am different. Phone died, and I went to bed. I washed my face and went to bed. But I'm back at it today, so let's finish this up. Hopefully y'all can't hear my grass being cut. InShot has a very good noise voice enhancer tool on their app that, yeah, you could literally be vacuuming and take the sound right up out of that.